G'day everybody, Blue here, welcome back to Enshrouded, and welcome back to Wistful Fields. We're continuing our building today, but I would say that in this episode we're going to have a very big challenge in front of us, which is to do with adding some much needed detail to this house. Obviously I'm still trying to get a lot of inspiration for what to do, and I did hopefully remember to post a few links up to the previous video of where I found information and inspiration for how I'm building this place and various techniques. But before I begin, I will actually just talk about the chimney. If you recall in the previous episode, the chimney was a little bit smaller, so I did actually thicken this chimney up a little bit more on this side. And I just thought about doing that because when I was sort of doing various testing and all that sort of stuff, there was a little bit of clipping to the side of the building which didn't really look very nice with the chimney being so small. So yeah, I just increased the size a little bit, so hopefully it looks much better now, but I decided to sort of just do that offline. So anyway, what are we doing initially? Well, I would think that the first thing that we need to do in this episode is to continue where we left off with the kitchen and add a little bit more detail there. Now, before I actually start, I'll actually move the candle over this side, and I also want to remove this and remove this side as well. Ooh, okay, we've got a bit of a floating thing here. I'll probably just get rid of this, like so. And the reason for this is because, well, we also need to get some kind of a doorway into this space. And I figure, maybe putting a doorway in the middle here doesn't really make sense because that's sort of right next to the stairwell. But I suppose putting it on this side might not be a good idea either, because I do plan to have a bit of a workspace around here. So I think between the two, this is probably the best place for it. Sure, it might be a little bit close to the stairwell, but that's okay. We can, however, have another a window on this side, and I think that's going to look good. Actually, we are using the wrong blocks here, so let me just fix that up. We do need the fancy style blocks. Just make sure that we're keeping everything consistent. There we go, and one more. Yeah, I do find that keeping the snapping on is actually more trouble than it's worth. Sometimes, only specific situations, it might actually be useful. Alright, I don't actually have a door yet, so I'll probably leave things as is, and that should give us some much needed sunlight while we're working on what's happening right here. So this is going to be a bit of a build where I'm sort of getting in like pieces of furnishing and all that sort of stuff, but it's going to be bespoke stuff. So not exactly something that we can craft from Cade or anyone else. So let's get started. Again, a lot of this stuff is inspired by the couple of videos that I did leave on the previous, or leave links to on the previous episode. So if you want to sort of check out those videos for the source, you're more than welcome to. But I am sort of essentially making a like a kitchen workbench, so to speak. I've just realized though that I am using the wrong pieces here, so let me just flick back to, I think I'm going to use fancy stone. And interestingly, with a fancy stone, you don't actually get the stone effect if you're only using a few of these blocks. But I do find that with a fancy stone wall, as you see behind me, like if you put a block on the wall, it creates this effect with the wood. And yeah, that is a bit tricky for what we're trying to do here, because I don't really want that effect. So I might actually have to sort of do something like this, where we're not really getting to the exactly to the back of the wall, but we're creating the illusion that it is. But anyway, let me just add a little bit more, and then we'll move on from here. Okay, so that looks good, but I do need an actual piece of furniture. Now, I will actually show you that we do have storage here. I mean, it's been a few episodes since we've come back to the storage area here, but I do have quite a lot of pieces of furniture, and the reason for this is because I've been doing heaps and heaps of testing with various pieces of furniture to see what I can actually build with it. So I am going to hopefully just use one or maybe two of these wooden tables. We'll see how we go. I think I'll start with the one wooden table, and I do want our carved wooden nightstands here as well. And yeah, as I said, we're really going to be creating like this bespoke work area. So let's start with the table here. Yeah, okay. So I guess I did miss something here. Let me just fix things up. Probably don't need all of that. Yeah, okay. So the idea is I'm probably gonna keep the table somewhere there, and that's sort of the working space. However, because I want to create the illusion that there's, you know, no gap, when in fact there is a gap here, I am actually going to start by putting the table back here first. And the reason for that is because I can now use that as a landing point for these pieces to go right next to the wall. And that way this is sort of going to cover up the gap, so you won't really notice that there's a gap back there. Yeah, so the elevation might be a little bit tricky though. Yeah, so that doesn't look too bad. I know we've got a little bit of clipping there, but I don't really mind. Plus, we might actually add stuff like plates and stuff, which can cover up some of those clippy and janky looking areas. This one might be a little tricky. Another thing that we could do, instead of maybe playing around with all of that, what we might be able to do is just... Okay, I was hoping to be able to remove one of the blocks here. I might still be able to do that. Bear with me. Alright, I was sort of hoping that I could get away with just having, you know, perhaps just one table. But I think maybe that's going to be impossible. We might need two tables. to create the illusion of a bench that's connected to the wall. Anyway, let me just correct this section here, and yeah, that's looking a little bit better now. I do need the extra table though, so we'll make that in a second. Let's see here, let's just try and get things center as much as we can. And yeah, I'll push this back. There, I guess. Then I'll have another table. Maybe I'll go even more, in fact. We may as well if we're going to be using 2 tables. But there we go, and yeah, I just need another table for that, so let's actually go... actually, I was gonna go home and make one, but I just can't remember if I do have a spare one that I've already made. Perhaps maybe there is another one. Yeah, actually I do have 2. My bad. So let's just use this other one, and I am going to need to make some more anyway for the next thing that we're going to create. But yeah, let's do things one at a time. Yeah, there we go. So, hopefully you guys like what I've done there with the little work area. So, you know, you'd be chopping stuff up and, you know, making bread dough and stuff like that in this little workstation here, right next to the window. Put a pie right next to the window to let it cool off, you know, etc, etc. As I said before, there's a little bit of space there in those little nooks. I guess these are sort of storage cupboards, but they don't exactly have, you know, doors on them. So they're just open. We'll have to figure out what to put in them at some point, but I'm thinking things like plates and things like that, little knickknacks. Next is going to be this space here. So in this spot, I'm going to have a couple of things going. One is a little sort of storage space for the grinder. It is the same grinder that we do use for making bone meal and dragon bone meal or dragon bone dust or something like that. But I think it's also used to grind flour, and that's why I'm thinking this is probably a good spot for it. Similar technique, so I'm gonna actually get started with that. Again, probably don't want to put a block right next to the wall, but we'll do something like this, and again, same sort of thing. We're going to be hiding stuff that we don't want by putting some furnishings and stuff on top. Now, instead of doing, I think in the workstation over there, we're doing a couple of blocks high, and then we're putting the table in. This time around, we're doing something a little bit different. We're actually getting it to be about, I would say, 3 blocks high. And then we'll get a table in, and then from there we'll start thinking about putting in furnishings. So it is getting a little bit dark, isn't it? I do want a little bit of sunlight. Well, not sunlight, maybe candlelight. I'll just chuck that there. Help us a little bit, but I do need the table. So let me actually go back home. We'll craft another table, and we'll grow from there. I'm not sure if we might need a couple of tables in this instance. Probably. I guess I shouldn't really be too stingy. I do probably have all of the materials required for it anyway. So yeah, wooden tables. I'll get a couple of these, and we'll bring them back. Righto, so yeah, the reason for the little section down below there is basically just to be able to allow us to elevate the table a little bit more. In this one, I didn't add anything down below because we sort of needed the table to be at that level. But yeah, I need a little bit more support here, so I'm just going to add a few more blocks down below, which I will then take off once we're sort of done placing the table. Yeah, I reckon I'll again put this table right against the wall, like so, and then we can grab the other one, and we can bring that a little bit closer to the front. Great, alright. So it does look relatively similar. I guess the difference is going to be down below, which is, you know, a little bit of extra storage, and then we'll actually put the grinder in there. Okay, so that looks good, but does come down to what we're going to decorate the upper section with to try and hide what's going on back here. And again, this is inspired by you know, a lot of the videos that I've already linked in the previous episode. And we're going to make something using these wooden lavatories. I'm not entirely sure if we do have enough. If we don't, then obviously I'll grab some more. And I'm also going to use some of these chests, these large storage chests. Now, obviously for, I guess, aesthetic reasons, I haven't exactly made the magical versions. But, you know, you can definitely make the magical versions if you wanted to, but I'm sort of just keeping most of this stuff aesthetic for now. Alright, so let's get started. So the first thing I need is to actually place down our lavatories. And I want to try and get this as center as I can. I mean, I'm sort of eyeballing stuff, but, you know, that's what you want to try and do, is just try to achieve some semblance of symmetry. And gonna place another one down after you've rotated it, and it'll look something like that. Now, obviously, if you look at it from here, you'll see the actual toilet bowls, but if you look at it from the side like we are currently, it's not so noticeable. It almost looks like cupboards that are closed. And then from there, you can essentially place down one of these. Like so. And that gives the illusion of a actual, you know, storage area, if you will. So I've got a couple more to put down, or a couple more lavatory seats to put down. We'll try and achieve the same sort of symmetry as what we've got on the right side there. Yeah, that looks good to me. We'll place this down. Great. Alright, that looks really, really nice, actually. So, the other thing that we can do is to, I believe, add a few more of these things above us. Or, sorry, above these chests, rather. Like so. And, yeah, I definitely need to make perhaps maybe a couple more of these things. It does say that we don't have enough free space. Oh, actually, we do have the ability to do it here. Yeah, brilliant. Okay. That looks really good. Actually, it's probably off a little bit, so I do want to move that ever so slightly. It's a bit tricky, isn't it? But all worthwhile, I reckon, to get that look that we want. Yeah, I can definitely see a bit more clipping going on here. Let's just try again. I have a feeling that it's probably this top one here, which hasn't really aligned properly with what's below it. So let me just try that again. We'll flip that one and... Okay, that looks decent. But I do need a couple more lavatories, so let's actually go back home. And we'll make a couple more. I'll probably have a sleep at this point as well, guys, because we may as well be working during the daytime. But yeah, so far I'm pretty happy with the progress that we've made with the kitchen. And once that's done, I would say that I want to try and focus on also dividing up the space a little bit more, because we've got to obviously break that home into different rooms and stuff. So let's go to the bathrooms here and want a couple more of those. And I do probably want to start thinking about making a lot of this stuff. Because I'm probably going to start decorating with some of these things, but anyway, as I said, one thing at a time. Alright, so that's not a bad look. Once again, I would say that we would be wanting to place down some kind of decorations in the shelves at the very top. We can pretend that the sides of the lavatories here are actually cupboards that might open up, but these things definitely open up. I don't really know if we'll actually store anything in there, because they're there basically for looks. And we'll have the grinder down here at some point when we do decide to move things around. But anyway, pretty satisfied with that. Hope you guys like what I've done there as well. But let's start thinking about dividing spaces in this place. So I would say I want to have some kind of a bathroom on the ground floor. And I don't think we really need to fit like more than one bathroom for this place. There's only going to be a couple people living in it, so I think it's okay to just have the one. And yeah, it doesn't have to be too big either, so what we want is the fancy walls. And yeah, we'll go with the full walls here, and I do still want the window over there to remain where it is, and the window here to remain where it is as well, so I feel like that's a decent spot for the bathroom. Actually, come to think of it, I could probably move the window over this side. The bathroom, I don't think we really need a window for the bathroom, to be honest. It's yeah, probably Not required. Alright, very good, and it's creating that nice aesthetic above us as well. Do want a door, actually. Yeah, okay. So, decent, but I think, as I said, I'll probably want to move the window over here. I was wanting to keep it there, but I think it doesn't make sense, so we'll move it. So, let's go to a solid 2x4 wall here. Like so, and then we'll do a window right there. Hopefully that makes sense. If not, I think I'm inclined to actually just carve out the window myself, guys. So I might sort of do that, and yeah, we'll sort of move it ever so slightly this way. I think it makes sense to have the window here. That's not so close to the door. Sort of give this door and that door a bit of breathing space. And yeah, this is going to be our bathroom. So we'll have all sorts of bathroom related stuff in there. We'll probably need a little bit of extra illumination. So that won't really be too much of an issue. And yeah, the rest of this space really is going to be additional decorations like tables, chairs, etc, etc. So should look okay. Now, second floor, or second story. Or technically, if you're Australian, we call this the first floor. We always call this floor down here the ground floor. And this is the first floor. Which I always found to be kind of weird, but anyway. Right, so let's go with half-timbered blocks, and what we're trying to carve out here is going to be one of the bedrooms, and this will be the farmer's bedroom. And I'm just sort of trying to figure out if we can sort of have it the same size as the bathroom, but I don't think that's going to be possible because, yeah, I feel like we probably need a little bit more space. So around about there, I think. I sort of want to make a decent sized corridor here for people to move around in when they're wanting to get to the attic. So that looks okay. Although I think I do want the door on this side, so let me just fix that up. I think that's actually in the wrong spot. Yeah, there we go. And then the door right there. Hang on. I mean, we do want to give her space, but not too much space, because I do want there to be like a nice sort of living area here as well. I thought we had the right size figured out. Okay. Perhaps maybe what's better is if I start with the door there, then I go with like these 2x4 pieces. That way we can sort of have a little bit more control. Okay, decent, and now yeah, brilliant. Okay, so let's just have a look at this space. Yeah, it does look relatively spacious. I mean, it's not like super wide or anything like that. But we've got some nice space here for, you know, a nice, maybe large table with a lot of chairs, almost like a dining area right in front of the beautiful fireplace that we've created, if I may say so myself. Alright, so the only trouble with this floor, though, is that we do need to make sure that these walls go all the way up, and there's a bit of a curve thing going on here, which we need to be aware of as well. So let's just fix all of that up right now. Yeah, so that's good. And I suppose maybe I should use one of these pieces. Good. A little corner there, but I'll come back to that. Okay. And maybe this? Good. Very, very dark here. So it's a little bit difficult to see what I'm doing. I don't know if it might be better if I just do single blocks here. It seems like that is probably the best answer, rather than trying to use any of the prefab stuff. Okay. Things look okay here, I think. Maybe I just want to inspect a little bit with my torch. Brilliant. Okay. Just gonna have a look up here to make sure that there's nothing jutting out or anything like that. Everything seems to be in order. I've just seen a bit of a mistake here on the side of the house, which I need to correct. Okay. Does look clean now. I'm gonna leave these there, because they might actually come in handy. But yeah, next up. Well, the attic, I actually haven't really decided what to do with the attic just yet, aside from the fact that I do want to put some walls up over here. So let's go ahead and do that. Use these corners if we can. And I will probably go for the refined wood blocks here. Let's do that, and one more over this side. Then we'll jump outside and take a look, make sure that it looks okay. Again, considering the amount of detailing that I want to go for, I might end up changing that in case we do decide to add a little bit more to it. But for now though, that actually looks quite nice. So yeah, let's jump back inside and let's continue dividing up the space here, because we're not done. We do have the underground space. Okay, so first things first, let me just get a little bit more lighting going on this side. And I do also want to start by making a exit, because there is supposed to be a door leading out this way, and I reckon it'll be on this side here. But I sort of also just want to have a think about where the hunter is going to actually be staying. And I reckon she's going to sort of occupy this quadrant of the room. She might actually have a bigger room than the farmer, come to think of it. So lucky her. But in exchange she has to live underground in a dungeon. Well, it's not really a dungeon, is it? It's nicer than a dungeon. We're using fancy block and stuff. So... alright, there we go. Pretty happy with how this looks, although I do need to perhaps clear up some of the soil down there so that we can traverse easily. How should I do that? I think I'll use the 2-meter blocks, I think, or hang on. Or is this better? Yeah, I think that's done the trick. Yeah, cool. I don't want it, like, super clean. I do still want, like, the terrain to sort of be overlapping some parts of the building. But what we could do is just perhaps take a tiny little bit more off. Like there. Did that even do anything? Hang on. Just maybe one more. I don't know. Maybe that was a little excessive. I don't actually have any dirt with me. So I would have to grab that if I'm going to fix this up, but that's okay. That's not a bad start. Okay, and yeah, now we do need to think about the room for the hunter, so let's get some walls back up here. And I'm just trying to think of where the door is going to be. Probably enter from here. And don't forget, there's also still going to be that secret passage that we end up making as well. And, yeah, I'm thinking that secret passage may end up being in this corner here. So we could end up actually making a bit of a corridor that goes that way. Brilliant. Okay, so this is her space here. And again, sort of an area out here where we can sort of hang out if we want to, but I'm thinking this is maybe going to be more of a workspace for the hunter, because she does have the hand spindle to operate, plus there's the drying rack as well as the tanning station as well, although the tanning station does produce vapors and stuff, so I don't know if those two things make sense to be actually indoors, but perhaps maybe we could even keep them out here. Maybe we can make like even a small sort of area here for her workspace, but I mean, I'll cross that bridge when I get there. But for now, I think I'm pretty happy with this space. Let me just take a look at what else can be done at this point. I suppose I should start making the decorations that I want to use, and maybe also the doors. I don't know if I'll use just the same type of doors for each opening, or if I want to use different ones. Yeah, anyway, let's get back and let's figure it out. Okay, let's maybe start by getting a little bit more lighting into the bathroom. Close the door and... oh. Yeah, sometimes, depending on where you place the candles, you may find that you can't pick them back up unless you pick up the door first, which is kind of frustrating, but anyway. Yeah, I sort of made the wrong type of door here. I've got the polished wooden door. You know what? Maybe it's a good idea for us to at least test that out, as it is also made by like stone or sandstone or something like that, which might actually complement what's going on with the front here. So yeah, I might actually keep that. Happy accident. But yeah, let's try and get a candle in here. I am going to try and use snapping. The question is, where do I want to keep the candle? Maybe... and how many candles do I need for this space? Maybe I can actually freeform it. So if I put like one candle in there, I guess it might be enough. But if we want to make it even brighter, we could probably put like one more. Okay. So let's have a think of things here. So it's going to be the bath. And I would say the bath is perhaps something that we want right in the center. Like so. And then we've got the lavatory, which I reckon maybe goes on this side, or actually maybe it makes sense for the lavatory to be facing this way and right next to sort of the wall that leads outside. So we've got a basin. We'll put on that side. I'm sort of having a think here though, but we've got this shower. I guess maybe I want to maybe try and squeeze some of these things on either side. So maybe the shower can go there. That thing is huge. Didn't realize how big it was. Doesn't look so big in the thumbnail. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe we just squeeze this in that way. I don't know, I feel like that's pretty decent. Perhaps maybe I can squeeze things in a little bit more that way. Ah, yes. Our throne. Do need a door here. So let's get that in. I know I'm being a little bit pedantic here, but I reckon it'd make a lot more sense if we had the door opening that way. So if someone was in the toilet and this door is not lockable, and you sort of barged in and someone was using it, then at the very least you won't really, like, especially if they're on the dunny, you wouldn't really notice. Obviously a different story if they were taking a bath or if they were taking a shower, but anyway. Okay, so, next, another door right here. And another door over here as well. Okay, brilliant. Yeah, so we've got all of the spaces figured out. I do want another door here, and that's why I crafted just the shoddy wooden door, because I figure perhaps maybe that one can have like a shoddier looking door. There is another doorway just back here actually, which I totally forgot about, so I should actually make another doorway. Okay, pretty happy with that. Got the same aesthetic going on now between the front door and the back one. And yeah, I wonder if we should do something similar here, although perhaps maybe that's not really needed. I do have a little bit of dirt with me now though, so I do want to just correct what we've got going on down here. Just trying to see if there's like a good amount that we can put. It's often a little bit tricky playing around with dirt. But yeah, I think that's probably a good amount there. Yeah, okay, that looks good, I reckon. Righto. So, next on the agenda is, I reckon we should get the lighting in this place, because it's a little bit hard to see, obviously, when it gets dark, and it'd be nice if this place is just all lit up. So, let's just see if I can gather up all that we currently have. And we'll go maybe floor by floor. Just make sure that each floor has enough. Hanging candles are probably going to be the main source of light, in my opinion. As well as maybe some chandeliers here and there. I just can't remember if I put any up here. Definitely not. Okay. Right, so if I can, I would like to use snapping, but sometimes it might not make sense. I reckon one right here. So if we were sort of working in the kitchen at night, then obviously we've got a little bit of light to work with. We can just continue doing our thing. Unfortunately, the fire doesn't always run when the kettle isn't really operating. But it would have been cool if it did, because that would give us a perpetual light source. And I would like most of our candles to be around about the same height. All around. I don't know, does it make sense to have candles above doorways? That's a very good question. I feel like it's dangerous to do that. Because, you know, those things melt wax, and imagine, like, entering a space or a home. The first thing you're greeted with is hot wax on your forehead or on top of your head, in your hair. That wouldn't be pleasant. Anyway, I need more candles, so let's just make a whole bunch. Illumination. I am also just going to steal the chandelier that we've got going on in our own home here. There's also a whole bunch of candles here that I could steal, but I might not do that just yet, because we could steal these for the next structure that we end up making anyway, so there's plenty of opportunity for that. Yes, actually, I needed to make the hanging version. My bad. Although, having, like, actual candles just sitting on, like, a little plate, that kind of looks cool as well. But I just need a good place to do that in. Bronze chandeliers. We could go into bronze chandeliers. Even stuff like this, like floor candle holders, they do actually look kind of cool. So yeah, it's a little bit hard to decide what's a good look sometimes. But yeah, let's just go with the wall-mounted stuff for now. And I could end up needing to, you know, gather up a whole bunch more wax and stuff. A whole bunch more fibers. Make more string. There's also a matter of lighting the outside of the building. I suppose that is not as important, I guess. Probably do want a candle there, and yeah, we probably also want to replicate that. We'll actually have a chandelier over here, I reckon. So I'm just going to place that down first. I don't really know where it needs to go exactly just yet, but that's good enough at least to give us a little bit of extra light for now. Very good. I think the next thing that we should be working on is maybe adding in some more detail around the attic. And once the detail is in for the attic, we're going to also need some lighting up here as well. Or I wonder if we can just keep it completely dark. I don't know if attics normally have lighting. I suppose it would if you needed to go up there, if you know what I mean. Like, you would only bring, like, a candle with you when you need it. But perhaps maybe what I can do is just add, like, one candle, like that. I think that might be an interesting look. Okay, so detailing. Again, I'm taking a leaf out of other people's ideas here. So this is not my own idea, but I think the concept is that we want to perhaps use... I was sort of thinking of using refined wood blocks initially. But what I really don't like, and I might actually also do something about this wall and this one. But as you can see, the hole where the actual window is, it looks really, really rough. It doesn't look neat at all. So yeah, I don't really understand why the game does that. I suppose if you're trying to achieve a certain look, I guess it makes sense, but instead of doing that, what I've seen is people using the roof tile blocks instead, and the way you can actually use it is if you start stacking them. See how it sort of changes into these sort of wooden pieces. So that's exactly what we're looking for. I'm just not entirely sure if I'm doing the right thing here. That's probably incorrect. Yeah, so that's sort of what you get. I'm not sure if I'm a big fan of the small sort of ridges that are created on either side, and whether or not that's something that I can remove somehow. I'll have a play around. Yeah, okay. I don't know if perhaps maybe we can achieve something different using, say, a different type of roof block rather than the same one that we've been using for the actual roof. Yeah, look at that. That looks a lot cleaner. So perhaps maybe the tarred shingle roof block is the answer, or maybe even something like the stone shingle roof block. But as you can see, it still gives us that nice sort of wooden effect on the sides, which is kind of what we're looking for. If we do go with this look, we might end up actually replacing all of this as well. But let's just see how we go. I might end up having to actually make a few more of these blocks though. But yeah, I think maybe we go with the tarred shingle roof blocks, and we'll stick with that. Okay guys, I think this is probably where we're going to be calling it an episode. You're probably wondering where a lot of this building is going and what the hell am I doing with all of these, you know, tarred shingle roof blocks. But essentially the concept is going to be that we're going to have like a a very, very large sort of... I wouldn't call it a skylight because it's not exactly in the roof, but we're going to have a very large window here for the attic. So the attic is actually going to get a lot of sunlight during the day. Instead of having, you know, very small windows like what we have here. I mean, we are going to keep these windows on the sides, but I'm going to have a very large window here that can sort of look outside into the most spectacular part of the view. That's the plan anyway. But yeah, I'm really satisfied with all of the detail that we've added so far. Place is coming along nicely, and the lighting is looking good as well. I would say that we're going to continue furnishing the place when we come back in the next episode, and hopefully we might even move either the farmer or the hunter in the next one, or perhaps maybe even both. But yeah, we'll see how we go. Thanks for watching, guys. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video. Stay true, and I'll see you guys in the next one.